about 100 years IFLA book, I was very sure Germany has to be a part of it. And I was very interested in how in the early time in Germany, these old guys, how did they inform the community of librarians in Germany? And I was very critical to this, but I found out during my research that they really did a great work. So it has also changed my attitude to what they have done.
The reason I'm here, it's that I wanted to be part of this huge, big and very special celebration of 100 years of IFLA. And I wanted to contribute with the experience from my country, how IFLA actually influenced the development of librarianship and librarians, and how my colleagues contributed to IFLA.
IFLA's history has been created over the last 100 years. It is our past, our present, and guides our future. IFLA's history is one of our greatest assets and is a most worthy centenary celebration.
We really jumped on this because we thought the law libraries have a lot to say. We're a very new group, but we believe that we've had significant impact in just the 20 years. And it was something that we thought we could not only contribute to building the understanding of what the law library section does within IFLA to help inform other IFLA members, but to also showcase some of the great work that we have done trying to bring legal research instruction and authentication of legal information by governments to the wider world through sharing out some of our successes.
Well, I think that it's important for people to know that there has been a history unit in IFLA. The IFLA takes history seriously. I think librarians deep down have a good sense of history, and if people can understand that IFLA has a history, that libraries have a history, they weren't just recently invented, then that's a good thing. It builds identity. That's what history does.
IFLA Pro, it's a community for people with very unique jobs, and it's truly an amazing community.
But I think what we've learned through this process is maybe something that we knew in the back of our minds, but it's really been emphasized, is the work that parliamentary librarians and researchers do has influence on society.
Yeah.
But in my comment, I want to take a hedonistic approach. And by hedonistic, I mean putting the emphasis on pleasure. And I've found a lot of satisfaction and pleasure in digging into the various archives with material on IFLA. Those include the IFLA archives, the FID archives, and those of the League of Nations in Geneva and Paris.
I was very excited specifically because of the historical connection. So about it being backward looking but forward facing, in the sense of I kind of have a background interest in library history. So for me it was very exciting because it was an opportunity to delve into the history side of things. It was just there's something really exciting, especially when you're touching literally a letter written by S.R. Ranganathan that's in the IFLA archive. That's incredibly exciting. And then just, IFLA for a long time I felt has been a kind of a guiding light in terms of the one kind of global organisation that has our back as libraries and librarians. And so it was exciting to think that there was an opportunity here to kind of explore that arena and discover on behalf of IFLA what else was going on and how they were operating and what they were doing within the wider global library scene, but back in time. People who back then were similarly trying to do great things to change the world in incredibly positive ways around, making information accessible through this technology that was newfangled at the time that was called libraries, public libraries. And that's why it was an unmissable opportunity. I'm very grateful and happy that I've been able to hopefully produce a very tiny part of a contribution to the project, and hopefully make, you know, the rest of the world, who unfortunately a lot of people remain, you know, unaware of the absolute backbone of importance of libraries, and particularly public libraries, my passion, their relevance and importance.
I think I'd like people to take away the ways in which IFLA, librarianship, libraries interact with society in various ways, and not just as passive observers or documenting society, but really driving a lot of social initiatives, driving change, driving the development of society.
Parallels to now. So there was a sense of urgency I felt around how what we could discover as contributors to this volume, and how that might actually have direct, very interesting, useful, you know, learning components about the parallels of what's happening in today's world. That actually there's some answers to the struggles we're having right now in the archive, if we just have the time to look and unpick and dig and delve. That it is by, you know, looking to the past that we can understand where to head towards, or the direction that we want to be heading in, like that way guys, not that way. I think hopefully the contributions in the volume will all speak in different ways, I think, to that fact, that they will all offer similar understandings of perhaps, you know, renegotiating and seeing historical experiences in slightly different ways, or just bringing them to light at all because they've been completely hidden. But then also there'll be some parts of that narrative that hopefully contribute to new ways of understanding of where we can go forward from here in our 21st century, that we're drawing on from like the 19th as well as the 20th century. So yeah, that would be my hope, that it's beneficial in that sense, that, you know, history, as someone said yesterday at our little contributor meeting conference, that, you know, history is not repeating, but history, like, it's the rhyming of history, right? And I thought, yeah, that's right, actually. It's you know, and so that's why it's so important to go back to history, because there are some answers there, right? But we have so little time to do lots of different things, let alone spend time researching history that's also time consuming to uncover, quite literally in some instances. So yeah, that's why I think it's actually very useful and important for us to be able to, you know, imagine futures.
What IFLA has done from the beginning, as an international organization, as an international association, they had to be always very diplomatic in all these crises, and there were a lot of crises, even exactly during conferences. And during all these crises, they always have to make sure that all the librarians, they still want to be in contact, they still want to understand each other. And I think you can learn a lot from the history, what is the future of IFLA and how IFLA should be and be active in the future too, for this goal, to keep all the librarians of the world together.
When we were talking about why do we want to do IFLA history, we want to know our roots so that we can continue towards the future in a better way. We can steer more steadily, clearly. Yeah.
Well, I'd say that you cannot know where you're going without knowing where you come from. Just very briefly said, and I think for people that has studies in history, that's what drawn us to the field in general. But it really brings a better understanding of what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing.
So we have a subject called the history of libraries, but also in recent years another subject, a named discrete subject, has come along called the history of information. And it could well be that interest in the history of libraries in IFLA is transformed into the history of information as we go forward further into the 21st century. Information is said to be important, and therefore it's going to become much more important to the historian. So that's a trajectory which IFLA might want to take on board. And it's also the case that people think that if people think that they're doing something worthwhile and contributing to a profession or to knowledge, then let's record that historically. People should invest in history in that way.
I think for the future, hopefully it can serve as a guide and perhaps inspiring people that through IFLA or through other collective action that they can make a difference in their society and have some agency over technologies and how they're being used for good or for ill. And I think also we need to learn from the mistakes that IFLA and libraries have made, and where maybe they acted too slow or weren't on the cutting edge of activities, so that we can see how we can do things better in the future.
I think what makes IFLA special, I'm just speaking from a personal viewpoint, is it's like the one leading global light. So it's kind of symbolic in a way. I feel like it's the one organisation that has a larger, foot in the world that is speaking on behalf of the importance of libraries that everyone else has kind of forgotten. Politicians have forgotten the importance, particularly in my home country of the UK, and they've forgotten public libraries' importance for a very long time. Arguably, they've been the Cinderella of the public services for decades. The heyday was in the 70s, arguably, apart from the origins of it happening. And yet they're obviously, to people in the know like myself and everyone else involved in this project and IFLA, that they're the backbone of having a fair, equitable, collaborative world. And therefore, so IFLA is the one place that actually understands that, knows it back to front, and tries to put libraries and our agenda, if you like, onto the world's agenda. And they have a little place at the world table to a certain extent. They're the only organisation that does in the library, specifically from a library perspective, that does. So for me, they've always been representative of that kind of like at the higher table. And so they have a very important role, I think, in that respect. Because who else is representing for what for us is obvious, the incredible importance of libraries to change people's lives everywhere across the world. And no one else really gets that, right? But IFLA gets that. So that's why they're important, because they have that connection to a larger global stage at the kind of policy and agenda level, the UN level, and no one else is doing that for libraries. And we all know that actually libraries have this incredibly important functional role in democratic societies. And I don't feel like anyone else gets it. But IFLA, it's like their founding principle to some extent, right? Like this library stuff, this library technology, this new thing, it's important. It's going to take us, to the moon and back. And they're the only people I feel who get it and support it. So that's why, for me, they are, the kind of the go-to entity for anything to do with libraries, but getting that notion, spreading it into the world.